Hi, I'm Bill.
I'm Lori.
And if this is your first time dropping into our channel, welcome. So we're standing behind our 2021 Winnebago Solis 59px.
Flat top.
And why are we standing here? Well, we are members of a group on Facebook called Solis Owners and Wannabes, and there's a lot of great information there. And so some of the topics that are discussed there are towing and carrying bike racks and those type of topics related to the hitch that you're going to find on your Solis. So some of the people said that they had to do additional things to their stock hitch, which is a Curt hitch, like weld it to the frame and those type of things. We'd really prefer not to do that. So what we've decided to do is do some testing and see what our experience is. We want to be mindful of everybody else's experience, but we also want to see what our experience is like. So what you see here is our Kuat NV Base 2.0 bike rack, and then Lori and I each have an electric bike. Lori, you want to just talk a little bit about your bike?
Mine's a Tern HSD P9.
It is.
And I really like it.
And it weighs about 56 pounds with the battery. And then my bike is a Stromer ST1. And it weighs in about 62 pounds with the battery. Now, when we travel with our e-bikes, we take the batteries out and we keep them inside the vehicle. We originally bought this rack to go with our Honda Element. We didn't even have the Solis at the time, and so we were carrying our bikes around on this rack on our Honda Element, and they do bounce around. But what we're trying to understand is, will we have an issue where the hitch is actually flexing and becoming loose at the attachment points on the Solis? And so we're going to go into the frame a bit and the attachment points for the Curt hitch. But one of the recommendations we did see was to try to supplement your bike rack using some type of straps. Now what we've done is I'm just using the door hinges here, and we have a couple of buckle straps that we're using, which we run underneath the bike rack here. We connect them, and it's just giving it a little bit of up force, hopefully to maybe mitigate some of the bouncing, and we'll see. In other parts of this video, you'll see where we have the bikes on the Solis, and I'm driving and Lori is in the chase car taking video of what it looks like from the rear, trying to determine if we're getting a lot of bounce and flex. We're really interested in any deformity in the hitch itself. We know that bouncing is kind of natural. Unfortunately, many of our roads are not in good shape and things tend to bounce around a lot. So we're kind of used to that. The other thing I did is you'll see some footage where I had a GoPro attached here looking at this strap and this bike to see how much it was bouncing around, and we'll go into it, but it was a 10-minute test drive. We plan to do further test drives, but we feel this is an important topic if you're considering a Solis. Clearly for us, we had an expectation that we could carry our bike rack on our Solis, and based upon some of the comments we're seeing in the Solis Owners and Wannabe group, it's raised some concerns, and we just want to find out for ourselves what we're dealing with here before we come to any conclusions. And in this video, I don't think we're going to come to any conclusions, but we're going to share with you what we're doing to try and determine how much the risk there might be using the stock Curt hitch on our Solis to carry our Kuat 2.0 NV Base bike rack, with our 2 electric bikes. All right, so
So what's the total weight between the bike rack and the bikes and the bike rack?
total weight is 170 pounds, and this hitch is rated to tow 3,500 pounds with a tongue weight of 350 pounds. So that's the vertical weight is your tongue weight, and we're at 170. So really only at about not even 60% of the capacity of the tongue weight. We may add another 39 pounds to it to add a pivot arm. One thing in this configuration, we cannot open our back doors, and even with the bikes off, as I'll show later in the video, we cannot open our back doors, and we think that's something we want to be able to do. So, all right, here's some footage of the test drive with the bikes on the back, and then I'll crawl underneath and I'll shoot some video of how this Curt hitch attaches to the Solis frame, as well as it has one attachment point to the bumper itself. Some bolts. There are bolts up here that attach the trailer hitch to the chassis, but it's captured between the attachment point for the bumper. So some people are saying that this hitch is attached to the bumper. Now there is a spot up here, if I can show that. There is a piece of metal up here that does appear to attach to the bumper, but on each side this hitch attaches to this chassis, and this is also where the hook is, a tie-down hook, or maybe some people call it a recovery hook if you got stuck and they hooked you here and then they would pull you out. And so let's take a look at the back side. Let's see, can I get a good view there? And where are we at here? Okay, I gotta go up a little higher. So there's where the hook and everything is. But when I look at this hitch, it is clearly bolted in to the chassis. That's part of the frame, the chassis of this vehicle. Okay, so we've taken the bikes off, and I wanted to show you a couple of things about this bike rack on our Solis. I think I mentioned earlier that with this bike rack, we're not able to fully open the doors. In this configuration here, with the rack like this, I get the door about that open. It does have a feature, this rack, But even then, I get about another inch or two. So I think the solution is, if we're going to go forward with this particular hitch, and even if we wind up making a conclusion that we need to upgrade the hitch, this is a Class 2 hitch at 350-pound tongue weight and 3,500 pounds towing capability. But Kuat makes a pivot 2.0 that will attach onto the hitch, and then this piece attaches to the Kuat pivot, and then I'll be able to swing this out of the way and be able to open the doors. But again, with this Curt hitch, which is stock, I'm trying to be very mindful of its tongue weight capability, and the pivot 2.0 would add an additional 39 pounds. So that would bring us up to a tongue weight roughly of 209 pounds, still considerably less than 350. And one more thing I want to mention, you want to be mindful of when you have your bike rack on the back of your vehicle and it's in the up configuration, that it does not block your license plate. At least in California, it seems if you have bikes on your rack and it blocks your license plate, not a big issue. But if you don't have bikes on your rack and your rack is blocking your license plate where it's not clearly visible, that can be a problem. You can get ticketed. Each state has its own rules, so you should check with your state to see what they are. And I guess some of the concern is about running through toll booths without paying. Okay, well, in closing, just a little bit of a summary. Again, this video was not intended to be a recommendation to anybody. It was really just to share with you what we're doing to understand for ourselves what we can and cannot do with the stock Curt hitch on our Solis when it comes to using our Kuat NV Base 2.0 bike carrier with our 2 electric bikes. And where I'm at this point is I'm comfortable moving forward with the stock Curt hitch. There are a few things I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure that I load the heaviest bike towards the receiver. I'm going to use an additional strap to create an additional tie-down point to the bike carrier for each of the electric bikes. I'm going to continue to use the blue straps as shown in the video to provide some stability to the carrier. I will keep my speeds down around 55 miles per hour. And I will slow down when I see those bridge joints coming up, which for 5 years just were, you know, there's nothing like a bridge joint to create a lot of bouncing in my experience. And the reason I'm going to slow to 55, basically we're not towing with that bike carrier and the bikes. Where it's really just a carrier, and what we've basically created is a lever, and with this being where the hitch is, and then as we put out weight some distance from the hitch, there's a chance that this weight out here is actually going to effectively be more than what the tongue weight is here, and a lever could, in my mind, create a situation where I'm raising the front end up possibly a little bit. And then I'm also putting some additional weight on the rear wheels that could affect braking and possibly introduce some sway. So I'm going to be conservative. I'm going to drive slower when I have the bikes on our Solis. That is not going to be a majority of the time, and I'm clearly not going to take bikes on any trip where there's a possibility of us going down a washboard road or anything like that. So So anyway, I'm confident with what Ram and Winnebago did to put that hitch on this vehicle. I think in part it's there to help protect me, to not go beyond the ability of this ProMaster 3500. So I'm totally comfortable with it. I understand how it attaches to the frame. I will visually inspect it regularly whenever I'm using it to carry the bike rack. But I'm going to have confidence again, and just continue to monitor what instability into the handling of the van it may be creating. So again, I love that Facebook Solis Owners and Wannabe group. If you're thinking about a Solis, it's a great place to hang out. You'll get a lot of helpful information, and you know, while I wanted to be mindful of other people's experiences, because that was their experience, I felt it was very important that I understood myself just what I'm dealing with. And I'm very confident in what Ram and Winnebago did when they put that hitch on. And it is going to work for me when it comes to hauling my bike carrier and the bikes. So other than that, if you like this kind of content, please give it a thumbs up. As always, as Lori would say if she was here, like, share, and subscribe. And it's your comments and questions that really help drive channel. So take a moment if you would like to leave a comment or ask a question, start a dialogue. And other than that, thank you for dropping into the channel. Till next time.